region? Which are the districts here? How many people in fact live here? How far is this away from Kathmandu? What more can you tell us, Surinder?
It is actually about 1,000 or 1,200 kilometers west of Kathmandu. This area is sparsely populated, being the mountains, but there are people living all around the mountains and hills, so it's a very hilly area near Saipal, Himal. Actually, geographically speaking, this area is closer to Uttarakhand and possibly closer to Delhi compared to Kathmandu, where we could not feel any tremor at all.
Okay. Yes, you are right about that, Surinder, because here in Delhi and Noida region, we have felt it. It's been felt in the Indo-Gangetic plains and also the Punjab, Haryana, essentially the northern part of India is where these tremors have been felt. Surinder is getting us all of those details from Kathmandu, and Surinder is saying that right now there has been no information of devastation, vis-a-vis destruction and injuries or deaths, but these are details that in fact will be coming in. This was 6.2 on the Richter scale. 5.3 is what the Nepal Seismology department is saying. However, 4.6 and 6.2 essentially, there have been 2 earthquakes, Surinder. What more can you tell us about that now? Is the Nepal Seismology department saying something else?
No, as of now, the report is saying 5.3, but then the seismologists must be analyzing more data. And probably once a big earthquake happens, or moderate intensity earthquake like this happens, there are bound to be aftershocks. And the second earthquake you are talking about must be an aftershock of the first one. So in the hours to come, there will be more aftershocks, according to seismologists, because that's normally what happens after a big earthquake strikes.
Always is the case, because aftershocks also are worrying, and for that precautions need to be taken. Any word from the authorities on what precautions can be taken given that aftershocks are expected?
Basically, in the event of an earthquake, authorities allow people, tell people not to panic and take a cover and move away from shaky buildings or fragile structures. But they need to keep themselves away from harm's way.
Okay. Be with us, Surinder, to tell our viewers. These are pictures, in fact, that viewers have been sending us. On the right side of your screen is these are visuals, in fact, of our own building, of our own office here in Noida, where all our colleagues, in fact, evacuated the building as soon as they felt the tremors here. Earthquake tremors have been felt in Uttarakhand region. Also is the information that we have with us, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi National Capital Region. 2 earthquakes, and the one that was felt in Delhi-NCR region is being touted as an aftershock essentially. 4.6 on the Richter scale and 6.2. 2 earthquakes essentially. Surinder, my colleague, in fact, is in Kathmandu getting us more details. Right now says the information is sketchy. This was the western part of Nepal, which is not very well habitated, and of course information is awaited on the extent of the damage. Too early to say anything, because 2:51 p.m. and 2:52 p.m. that was the time when the earthquake essentially struck the western part of Nepal. Surinder was telling us that it's actually closer to northern India than it is to Kathmandu. So closer to the northern part of India, and that's the reason why it's bordering India, and that's the reason why we felt the tremors here in the northern part of the country. We'll try and go across to my colleagues also, Shiv Arur, also if we can, in fact, be joined by Shiv and my colleagues from Ground Zero also getting us up to speed. And the very first reactions of the people, because the tremors were very strong, and the instant reaction was to, in fact, leave the building in which most people were and to come out in an open space, and that really is, in fact, the protocol. Earthquake felt in the northern part of India. The epicenter is Nepal. That's what we know. These are pictures, in fact, on your screen coming in from some of these pictures, in fact, are being sent in by viewers of India Today, who have essentially sent us their experience and what they saw when the earthquake struck. Tremors that were felt in various parts of northern India and Punjab, Haryana, Delhi National Capital Region, Noida is what we know, also Uttarakhand. The epicenter of the earthquake is Nepal, and we have a confirmation on that. 4.6 and 6.2. Now the location really is near Gularia and Lumbini province in Nepal. This is western Nepal is what we know. At about 251 and 252 earthquakes were felt. Two different estimates given as far as the Richter scale is concerned. 4.6 and 6.2. There are some details of the depth as well. And what we know is that it's about 10 kilometers as far as the depth is concerned. But the tremors were certainly felt here in northern India. Closer to western Nepal, share the border. And that's the reason why in Uttarakhand, in Punjab, in Delhi, NCR region, Noida, that's where we felt the tremors of this earthquake. 6.2 on the Richter scale. Still awaiting more details as far as Nepal in fact is concerned, vis-a-vis if at all there have been any reports of devastation and injuries. We are awaiting those details. The epicenter of this earthquake was Nepal. The National Center for Seismology has pinned the epicenter of the earthquake to Nepal. Massive tremors are felt in Delhi after two earthquakes in Nepal, one of magnitude 4.6, the second one 6.2. The depth of this earthquake was 5 kilometers. The first earthquake hit Nepal at about 2:25 before being hit by the second one at 2:51 p.m. Earthquake of magnitude 6.2 occurred today. 5 kilometers was the depth. The location was Nepal is what we know. This at 2:51. Before that, the earthquake of 4.6 magnitude on the Richter scale was in fact felt in Nepal again. Essentially the second one, that of 6.2 magnitude, was an after shock that was felt. Tremors are felt in the National Capital Region and Noida. Also, we have some reports of the tremors being felt in the Uttarakhand region, which is closer to the western Nepal border. Western Nepal is where the earthquake's epicenter was. This was the Balua area of Gorkha district, which is 140 kilometers west of Kathmandu, is what we know. In fact, these are details coming in right now of two earthquakes that we are picking up from the National Center of Seismology and also this Department of Seismology in Nepal. 4.6, I beg your pardon, and 6.2 on the Richter scale. Details of the earthquake in western Nepal, tremors of which strong ones are felt in the National Capital Region. There were two earthquakes, or rather one earthquake, and the second one is being said to be an aftershock. Was also in fact the tremors of the same were felt in northern India, Delhi and the surrounding NCT, or the National Capital Territory of Delhi, the National Capital Region. Earlier, in fact, today there were two earthquakes. One was at 2:25 p.m. The magnitude was 4.6. The second one was at 2:51. The magnitude was 6.2 on the Richter scale. The tremors have been felt in the northern part of India. We are waiting for more details on the same. But right now, what we know, and this of course is from anecdotal evidence, is that the tremors were extremely strong. And these are pictures in fact from our very own office here in Noida, where our colleagues were seen evacuating the office building as is the procedure. Twin earthquakes felt in the Delhi-NCR region, parts of North India, Punjab, Haryana, Uttarakhand is what we know. The epicenter of the earthquake is western Nepal, very close to the Indian border, essentially to the northern part of the country to Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana region, and also to the national capital and the national capital region. Hence, the tremors were felt in the NCR area as well. My colleague Ankit is getting us more details on that story, and he joins us from Dehradun right now, where the tremors were felt. Ankit, what do you really see around you? Of course, there was panic as everybody stepped out of their homes and offices. What more can you tell us about the current situation?
Well, Sneha, the tremors jolted the earth, and the tremors were felt in Uttarakhand and as well as other states of the country. Here, two times the earthquake jolted, and once it was around at 25 past 2, and the magnitude was 4.6. Then again, the earthquake tremors were felt, and the magnitude was around 6.2. So twice people felt earthquake, and a lot of people came out of their home in border areas of Uttarakhand because the epicenter of the earthquake was Nepal, and the depth was around 6.2. So obviously Uttarakhand is a vulnerable area if earthquake and natural disasters are concerned. We have seen many earthquake incidents in the past as well. Warnings were raised by the authorities, and yet again earthquake tremors were felt while PM Modi's visit to Pithoragarh is scheduled on 11th and 12th. So the preparations are in full swing.
Kamaljeet, my colleague, is joining us from Chandigarh. Kamal, in fact, I'm going to hand it over to you. You were telling us about the tremors that were felt and also about how people responded to it. Kamal.
Well, absolutely. It was not a shudder. It was a big tremor. We were actually on the 4th floor and we came running down, and just see, this is Sector 17. It is the heart of Chandigarh city. There are several office goers with us. And now you see a lot of people who actually just walked out of their shops and out of their offices because obviously they felt safe in the open spaces. Now we have with us some people who are outside. ये बताइए कि भूकंप का झटका थोड़ी देर पहले आया. क्या हुआ था? क्या महसूस किया?
हम अंदर थे, सडनली बहुत तेज आवाज आई कस्टमर्स की भी, कुछ बाहर आए, हम भी फटाफट बाहर आए, बट बहुत तेज था वो और अनएक्सपेक्टेड था कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ.
और तब से आप लोग बाहर ही
हैं हम, बट वी आर सेफ.
ये मुझे बताइए कि अब क्योंकि कुछ समय हो चुका है कि नॉर्मलसी वापस आ गई है, कोई घर वालों से बातचीत हुई, कहीं व्हाट्सएप पे कोई एक्सचेंज हुआ या सोशल मीडिया पे आपने देखा?
व्हाट्सएप पे भी एक्सचेंज हुआ है कि मैसेज जो है फॉरवर्ड किया कि, और वो बताया भी है उन्होंने कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ है और बात भी की है, बट सब नॉर्मल है. अब पहले था, but
Well, is telling us that things appear to be normal as far as Chandigarh is concerned. We are hoping that there haven't been injuries and devastation in that earthquake. The tremors of the same that were felt in the northern part of India. The epicenter was Nepal, is what we know. With that, it's time for a quick commercial break. Here on the other side, UAPA sections invoked in FIRs against NewsClick journalists. These are stringent provisions of the UAPA, the terrorist act essentially. Cops have drilled journalists, have been drilling these journalists since morning over Shaheen Bagh, and they've been also questioned on the farmers' protest.
You are watching India Today, powered by Finest. Be Sustainable Change, a B&P Group company. You are watching India Today, powered by Finest. Be Sustainable Change, a B&P Group company.
Elon Musk's brain chip startup Neuralink says it has received approval to begin recruiting patients for its first human trial. An independent review board has given the green light for the company to seek people with paralysis to test its experimental device in a 6-year study. The study will use a robot to surgically place a brain-computer interface, or BCI, implant in a region of the brain that controls the intention to move. Neuralink says the initial goal is to enable people to control a computer cursor or keyboard using their thoughts alone. Musk has grand ambitions for this medical device company, saying it would facilitate speedy surgical insertions of its chip devices to treat conditions like obesity, autism, depression, and schizophrenia.
The first two applications we're going to aim for in humans are restoring vision, and I think this is like notable in that even if someone has never had vision ever, like they were born blind, we believe we can still restore vision. And then the other application being in the motor cortex, where we would initially enable someone who has almost no ability to operate their muscles and enable them to operate their phone faster than someone who has working hands.
In May, the company said it had received clearance from the US Food and Drug Administration for its first in-human clinical trial. Its previous testing in animals is under federal scrutiny for potential animal welfare violations.
You are watching India Today, powered by Finest, Be Sustainable Change, a BNP Group company.
Air quality today. In Delhi, 174. In Mumbai, 93. In Kolkata, 50. In Bangalore, 33. In Chennai, 57. In Hyderabad, 146.
Traveling from different parts.
Armed with facts,
Looking at political black.
she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold, and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
You are watching India Today, powered by Finest, Be Sustainable Change, a BNP Group company.
We have some news just coming in. Founder and editor-in-chief of NewsClick, Prabir Purkayastha, has been brought to Delhi Police's special cell. This is the founder of NewsClick, Prabir Purkayastha, who has been brought to Delhi Police's special cell. The investigations, remember, is in connection with the Journalist Association of these journalists, many of them associated with NewsClick, amid the China funding controversy. It's a fresh case that has been registered by the Delhi Police Special Cell against NewsClick. Arvind Oja is getting us more details on that story. Arvind, इस पर very latest details आ रहे हैं कि NewsClick के फाउंडर को क्वेश्चनिंग के लिए दिल्ली पुलिस स्पेशल सेल में ले आई है।
हाँ बिल्कुल, देखिए जो अगर सुबह की बात की जाए तो जो न्यूज क्लिक के फाउंडर है उनके यहाँ पहले रेड हुई थी, उसके बाद स्पेशल सेल उनसे पूछताछ की थी, उनको लेकर उनके घर पर भी गई थी। उनका जो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिवाइस है, चाहे मोबाइल हो लैपटॉप, वो सीज किया स्पेशल सेल ने और उसके बाद फिर दोबारा लोधी कॉलोनी